Now we're live.
I love Mondays with Mike Heller.
Broadcasting live from an undisclosed bunker in the Badger State, this is I Love Mondays with Mike Heller. Powered by determination and a little bit of duct tape. Here's your host, Mike Heller.
And here we go in on a Superfan Tuesday. I got a guy sitting next to me we'll bring on board in a couple of minutes. I want you to laugh with me or at me for a moment. So yesterday I went over on Monday when I finished the show, I went over and met with a buddy of mine, Manly, outside of Milwaukee, near Oconomowoc, and met with a promotions company to help do some things as it relates to the podcast. And I'd said to Kari, hey, I'm going to go over and have this meeting, and then I'm going to just stay over there. And because we're heading on a trip next week, I want to be over at the Brewers game. And it never, that was a simple conversation. Like, for whatever reason, I didn't look at their schedule. I just knew that they were playing Toronto at 6:40. So I leave the meeting and go to American Family Field and media parking. Usually there's attendance with a little pop-up tent coming in the back right field gate, and there's nobody there. I'm like, okay, well, I'm a little earlier than normal. So I pull up and I have to call the box, and somebody says, how can I help you? And I said, well, I'm credentialed. I'm here just a little early, but there's no parking lot attendant. So then the gate goes up. So then I pull in and park in the back parking lot. There are a lot of Brewers employees that park in there too. So the lot was fairly full. But then I'm thinking to myself, wait a second. There's a game tonight, right? So I get out my schedule, and there is no game. So I went to a Brewers game last night, of which they didn't lose, which is great. I'm just glad I didn't get out of the car and walk into the stadium, because, I mean, I'd have walked all the way up to the media entrance and it would have been locked. So I called I called my buddy Manly and said, because even when I left the meeting with him, he said, now make sure you get him a win tonight. He's a big Brewers honk, so he's in on it. So he just went with me because he said, I didn't know that they were or were not playing, but you said you were going to the game, so I assume they were. All right, so I don't think I've done that before, showed up to an event that wasn't happening that day. But I did yesterday. Also, a lot of react, and I listened to a lot of people on different radio shows talk about the Wisconsin situation yesterday. Here's my overriding issue of what other people are saying. There is a convinced segment of the radio show host population that thinks that Luke Fickell is a shitty coach. They are convinced of it, that this won't switch around and turn around until you make a coaching change. And I'm not in that camp. So I fought a couple of fights over the way. I stayed out of the fray. I'm not calling somebody else's radio show. I stayed out of the fray on the Luke Fickell. I don't think it's fair on the judgment of the program as it relates to the head coach, given what I think have been inequities in the first 3 years of the program. Now, some of them are self-created. I'm not going to walk away from the Phil Longo being a mistake. I'm not going to walk away from 3 different offensive line coaches in 3 years. Those are issues that sit on the desk of the head coach. There's a lot that sits on the desk of Chris McIntosh up until yesterday at 5 o'clock. Then Chris McIntosh, the end of their workday yesterday, is no longer the AD. There is a decent amount that rests with Luke Fickell, but my contention is a simple one. I think they hired a very capable head coach. I think he had a very good track record with what he did at Cincinnati. I think he's a good coach. I think the record will speak to that in what he did prior. Doesn't mean that it works here. The first 2 years, I think, were mired by quarterback injuries and bad decisions with his offensive coordinator. And I will always believe this, that Phil Longo, although being a scapegoat, was the wrong choice. And he stayed too long. 2 years was too long. After a year, I think Ron Wolf said this many times, when you make a mistake, identify the mistake and fix it. And I think that was a mistake. That is on the desk of Luke Fickell. But I'm not convinced, like so many others are. It's a ESPN Milwaukee and a former Badger player, Hunter. And I actually am entertained by their show, except I don't like the direction that it's an absolute that Luke Fickell is a bad coach. And I don't believe that. This year will tell a lot. I said this yesterday. I said this Monday on the show. On Monday's show, I said, this is the most significant single season that I can remember for Badger football. Now, I'm going to be a victim of recency bias because there have been other significant seasons. But given that you don't right now have an athletic director, you don't have a chancellor, you don't have a school president, you got to hire an athletic director. Luke Fickell and the entire staff's job security is tucked into what happens in the 2026 season. There's a middle ground, a gray area that I don't know what'll happen. If they go 6-6 and are bowl eligible, that to me is a gray area, but with negativity. You look at the schedule and you pick 6 losses out of there. There are some losses in there that you're going to go, wait, what? If you look at this schedule and pick out 4 losses, you can go, okay, I understand that. Let's say you lost at Penn. Let's say you lost to Notre Dame at Lambeau. Let's say you lost the road game at Penn State. Let's say you lost at Iowa and lost against USC at home. But you win everything else. If that's an 8-4 team, I think, it's not fantastic, but it's a pretty good year based on what you've done. If you do better than that, then we're having a different conversation. 6-6 is a gray area, but 6-6 might, with a new AD, we don't know who it is. It might be the end. So there's a lot of ground to cover on that. And we're going to do it more today. No guests other than Superfan Tuesday. Oh, I should have done this reverse, but James, I'll get to your good morning. He said good morning, and he was early on that. So then he asks, who fumbled the ball? Paul Chryst time at coach. Should McIntosh have stepped in to force getting a recruiter and push the NIL? And thanks for sending it in. I don't know. Here's the simple deal. I don't know the answer. Revisionist history is easy. Hindsight is 20/20 on this, because I've said this multiple times. If you could go back to that Sunday after the Illinois game when Chris McIntosh brought Paul Chryst in, I don't think he brought him in to fire him. I think he brought him in to say, we've got to fix what's the plan. We got to fix whatever is not right here. What's going on? And I, if you're a fly on the wall, you know something that I don't. I don't know how the rest of it transpired, but I've said in hindsight, I wish Mac would have just said, Paul, coach, do what you do. That's why you've been here. That's why you've been successful. Go coach. We're going to bring in others. We're going to manage your player personnel to a certain extent. You don't have a recruiter on staff right now. We're going to take care of a recruiter. We need to do the things that you're not doing, but this relationship should continue. He didn't do that. He fired him. Jim Leonhard stepped in. I thought Jimmy did a great job. I think there was only one coach in America that was going to prevent Jim Leonhard from getting the job, and that was Luke Fickell. And again, I'll look back at this, and I wanted Jim Leonhard to get the job, but I couldn't be upset that they hired the hottest candidate in the nation at the time, who had a proven track record because of what he had done in Cincinnati. So anybody says it was alumni, former player alumni, that were the ones that were most outspoken about that Jimmy should have gotten the job. It should have stayed in the family. nobody was very few were not excited about the Luke Fickell hire. So I'm not going to relitigate that because I think it was the right choice. But then what the University of Wisconsin did after that can be called into question. Did they provide enough funding for player procurement, recruiting? Did they provide enough for player retainment? The ones that are here that identified as good players to not leave because you couldn't get them enough money. Chimere Dike, I don't know he left. He wanted to follow Graham. Graham was going to leave. And then you had injuries upon injuries, and specifically at the quarterback. So we won't dive too deep into it. And then Mark says, good morning. So there, we've kind of covered the ground. Let's bring in my guy, Treadmill. It is a Superfan Tuesday. You know, you've had the advantage, I suppose, of being able to react to this. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you've had a lot of conversations in the last 36 hours since we found out that Chris McIntosh was leaving, and had conversations, but you've had a chance to kind of prepare your mindset for what we would talk about today. So take me back to Sunday night. What was and has been your reaction over the last 48 hours?
Yeah, I don't think I was unique in being surprised. You know, the timing, which is being talked about quite a bit. And actually, those that are comfortable with Mac moving on or wanted him to move on, I don't think the timing's working even for them. You know, we're not in a great spot right now with some of Mnookin, most notably with some of the top people that are going to be involved in the decision and the search.
And we don't know. I mean, everybody's gone, right? So Mnookin is going to leave to go to the Ivy League. The president just got summarily dismissed, and your athletic director is gone. So Marcus Sedberry takes over on the interim side. But you have a power vacuum. There's a void of who's making these decisions.
That's it. And I think you and I, correct me if I'm wrong, have a similar orientation as it relates to, you know, losing your coaches, your GMs, your people that ultimately have the most influence over your sports organization. And that is, be careful what you wish for. And I'm not calling Mac a devil in this case, but the saying is, the devil, you know, what's the opportunity set? What's the pipeline look like to get somebody in that's going to be better? You know, so I have that opinion. And I don't know that we need to go back through some of the things you covered yesterday, which you covered well, in terms of, obviously Hastings was a great hire. Women's basketball appears to have it going. I don't think we should short him or take for granted keeping guys like Mark Johnson and Kelly around. And Fickell was the right hire. Like it's all been talked about. So I'm not dancing on anyone's grave here. It's interesting. The fan base wants Wisconsin players on the field because they care more. They have more passion. They'll probably play for less. You know, like, we have that discussion. And then we got the Wisconsin guy running the program, and suddenly we're thrilled that, I mean, careful now. Like, this is what you wanted, Wisconsin. So I do think there's a lot of validity to, maybe Mac feels this way as well, wasn't the right guy for this. And I don't know who is the right person in a transition like we're going through right now in college sports. But fundraising is the issue.
Yeah, it's dollars. It was a totally different landscape. I'll take you back because I've been here the whole time. I arrived in Madison in 1988 when it's a mess. Aide Sponberg, I believe, is running the ship because Elroy Hirsch had been the front man, but Elroy was most of the time just a figurehead, a PR AD. But they brought in Donna Shalala to Pat Richter. Mm-hmm. And I equate that to Bob Harlan and Ron Wolf.
Absolutely. That's great.
Okay. Yep. So the Richter, Shalala to Richter to Alvarez is Bob Harlan to Ron Wolf to Mike Holmgren. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Those three really, you can tie that up in a pretty little bow. And then Wisconsin was very good because Pat got Barry, and then he identified in basketball that they needed to splash, and they did on their hire from the NBA, Stu Jackson.
Yeah.
And then they got real on the back end of that, went to Dick Bennett and then to Bo Ryan. So in football, Barry took the ship, and that's the driver. So I guess my point in all of this is, I said this yesterday, football's failing, but I believe that the legacy of Mac is still not finished. Mm-hmm. If it cut off yesterday at 5 p.m., he fails. If you take into account how football, I believe, is set up to win, mm-hmm. then he deserves some of what happens going forward. If they fail, his legacy is complete. Fine in the other sports, but there is only one that ultimately matters, because it is your lead candy bar. If you were Hershey, it's your lead candy bar. Whatever you're selling of this is going to drive everything else. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Product development, R&D, what else you're going to do. Football has to win, and it has to win both on the field and at the gate. Mm-hmm. And they've lost on the field, and they've lost at the gate. And that's your money. So you talk about fundraising, yes, and it is imperative. Mm-hmm. You got to keep up with the Joneses in this NIL era. And I'm hopping all over the place. Sorry.
Not at all.
I equate it right now to John Blackwell. Understand, we've watched John Blackwell play for 3 years. There's no, and I appreciate who he is, what he is. He's been a really good player. There's nobody that's looking at John Blackwell with the same lens that we looked at Michael Finley. There's nobody looking at John Blackwell with the same lens that we looked at Frank Kaminsky. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. He's a good player. Somebody's going to pay him $5, $6.
Are you up to that now?
$7 million. I was dubious to it.
You told Court, and then I went and checked your math and realized you were way more right than wrong. When Court dropped the $4 to $5 million, which has been floated.
I thought it was high.
Yeah, and here's why
he was high. I thought Courtney was high.
Abantha got 4 point.
That's what I thought.
Poor CC.
He's all right.
It's not even 420 yet.
No.
No, the top guys in NCAA basketball last year were making 4 and 4.1, and they're one and done players. So you when I looked at that, well, okay, there is no transparency, but those numbers are probably more, they're real. So when I looked at that, I'm like, Heller's right. These numbers being floated for JB are totally bullshit. But then some guy tweeted out Duke's going to pay him $7. That was clearly fake news, but 5 to 6. I mean, even 4 to 5.
Yeah. Well, and I think the point that I'm making with that is it's just more. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be more this year, and then it's going to be more next year. Yeah. And basketball, because they're smaller rosters, maybe there's a little bit touch more transparency. Maybe we know a little bit more.
Yeah.
But it's a lot. So I was listening to one of the other shows again yesterday, and they were discussing how much Colton Joseph is making, the quarterback that came from Old Dominion, who's going to be your starting quarterback. And he said, 750, 800? And no, the other guys go, no, 1.5, maybe more. And he was flabbergasted at, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
No, we're not kidding.
No,
this is why I'm going to look at this. This is why I am desperate for transparency in college athletics. There is no other sport we pay attention to in which we don't understand the discrepancy and the variance in payroll. Zero. And yet I'm watching the reporters work on the college basketball, and they're guessing at the dollars. Mm-hmm. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Why are we guessing at dollars? If they're making this money, why don't we know it?
Why isn't it public?
I don't know. It's in nobody's best interest to not have it public.
Yeah.
You know, I had this discussion many times with my guy, Bill Schmid, when I was working with iHeart and he was a broadcast partner. And we never agreed on this because it makes it not none of our business. It is in every other sport that we cover.
Yeah.
It's our business.
Yeah.
This is as significant from a dollar standpoint, college athletics, to Major League Baseball, the NBA, the NHL, and maybe not in the National Football League, but the entire college athletic scene, football and basketball, if you combine them, it probably in the running.
Yeah.
The dollars are just as significant on the TV side. It's bullshit that we don't know.
Yeah.
When John Blackwell signs with Duke or with UCLA or whoever that is, that we don't see the report. John Blackwell just agreed to a 1-year deal at UCLA for $5.8 million.
Yeah.
Who are we protecting that we don't know it? UCLA? The college athletic landscape? The player?
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it, Tread. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah, and let me ask it this way. If you are a donor that can write a 7, 8 digit, 9 digit check.
Yeah.
And you're looking at, we'll just pick a program. You're looking at football and you're saying,
here, do it this way. A UConn booster just wrote a $15 million check to UConn athletics today or yesterday or whatever.
Yeah. So if you were going to write that check, would you not, and you were a fan, would you not want to see, okay, I want to see your list of prospects. I want you to budget, roughly give me a budget for what each one of those, wouldn't you want to know
100%.
that? And maybe, by the way, maybe that information is communicated to Ted Kellner. I hope Ted knows. I know he cares deeply. I'm not saying I want Ted or anybody else that can write that check to have an opinion on how that money gets spent. That becomes a bad idea for everybody.
Right.
But you would think you would want to know. And at that point, if you've got 10, 15 viable ultra high net worth people you're going after like that, if they all know, it's amazing to me also it doesn't become public in spite of its lack of transparency.
I mean, usually that information gets out. You got a little
fuzz.
Yeah, a little fuzz from that, grabby beard of yours. So Eric says it is definitely our business now, Mike, now that our tax dollars are going to NIL. Okay.
That's not where they're going, Eric. But let's talk about that.
But that frees up money for this.
It does.
So it's
debt service.
It's one pocket to another. So you're talking about left-hand pocket. It's not our tax money that goes to this. Who needs NIL donors when you have Mike Heller's? Yeah. Morgan, you're going to get on with this one time. Okay, so here, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Morgan, I blocked on my Twitter feed. And Morgan, you'll get through on this one time. I don't have an issue. Let me explain a little bit of, I'm going to mansplain to Morgan. You little. I've been doing sports talk for 25 years. I have differences of opinion with listeners, viewers every day. And I debate it on X. I'll go back and forth.
Yeah.
Morgan got on my ass about the Tiger Woods thing a few weeks ago when I was talking about when he got the DUI and, but it wasn't alcohol. And I said, just get a full-time driver. And then Morgan and one of his buddies kind of took after me and you're jumping the gun and he's got more talent in his little finger than you've got in your entire body, which was never a debate. It's true. And then he took after me about having zero credibility and, put on your knee pads with the UW and just continue to do what you do with them. And there's just a certain line. I didn't block him then. A certain line. And then he went right back to it this weekend.
Yeah.
So I blocked him. And Morgan now says, you said 40 on Twitter. I've been in sports broadcast since 1987 in television and in radio.
Yep.
If you do the math on 1987 to 2026, it is 40 years.
Yep.
So I don't block often, but when people make it personal, when he was taking a shot at Your career sucks. You used to do this. You used to do that. Your career sucks. You have zero credibility. I just don't have time.
Yeah.
I don't have the space for you, dude. I don't know who you are. You might be a good guy. I have no idea.
Hey, brother,
but you showed me who you are.
Pick up my coat. Pick up my coat.
Yeah.
Leave Mike's credibility. And by the way, we are fans, Morgan, and everybody else listening. So this is a Wisconsin sports focused show. We are fans. Yeah. We are homers. We do have opinions, both supportive and frankly not supportive. I agree with everything you just said about Fickell. Fickell wins 2 or 3 Big Ten championships, gets into the playoffs over the next 5 years, and we are celebrating the living shit out of that guy. It's not set yet. It's
correct.
Not.
Yeah. Multiple things at play with Badger football that we're not going to learn about until Sunday night, September the 6th and beyond. So we're inside of 4 months to the first game, but we're still sitting at 115 days-ish before they play a game. Nobody knows between now and then if they're going to be any good. My gut thinks they're going to be quite a bit better. My gut tells me that they're going to be the last month of last year's team, but with an offense.
Yeah.
And not a cruising offense, not a fantastic offense, a better offense, which would be hard not to do.
Yeah.
Because the offense last year was among the worst you are ever going to see.
Yeah. So I think let's remember that defense was playing like a top 5 total defense at times last year, at more times than not. Top 10 total defense, statistically for sure. The entire secondary is turned over, should be better, but I'm not going to sleep on guys like Ricardo Holman. I don't think that's fair, but
Mason Posa and Cooper Catalano are the deal.
100% the deal, though. So you've got a brand new D-line, more or less.
Yeah.
You losing Riegers. There, you lost some great. Cheeks is back. I didn't even realize that until I read it. So I think I do expect really good things, if not great things, from the defense next year. But anytime there's that big of a personnel turnover, it should create a few questions.
The offense was the 18th best offense in the Big Ten.
I think the offense is going to kick.
Where are you going?
I think they're going to, on a relative basis, it's really easy to see they're going to kick ass. On where do they rank 1 through 18 in the conference? You're asking a lot to say they're going to kick ass there, but everybody if you have not seen Colton Joseph take off against Indiana's defense in the first game last year, then you need to go watch that. And I know every time he passes the line of scrimmage, we're going to have PTSD around him getting popped and hit, but guys that get hit know how to get hit and take a hit. I think they could be extremely entertaining.
There's some depth in that room too. Deuce from Louisville is very good. The true freshman is very good. Carter Smith is their 4th quarterback. He's 4th on their depth chart.
I mean, if this isn't the deepest quarterback room they've ever had before any of them taking a snap, then I don't know what is.
So I think if they improved to 12th in the Big Ten in offense, that would be a tremendous step. I think it can be in that vein, maybe a little bit better. I look at the schedule and I see 7 wins, but I predicted 8.
Yeah.
The most difficult games: USC, at Iowa, at Penn State, Notre Dame at Lambeau. There's 4, and I gave 2 of them as potential toss-ups, including Penn State and USC at home. Maybe that's the optimist in me calling those toss-up games. Even Notre Dame, I think, potentially is. It wouldn't shock me. I think it would shock a lot of people. It wouldn't shock me, but that's going to be the real opening test. Then they won't have a test till they go to Penn State.
Yeah.
The rest of them are gettable in the sense of you go to Maryland, Rutgers come here, you go to Purdue, you go Minnesota comes here. The rest of that shit is gettable.
Yeah.
But they're going to have to be good. I get it. Even to a dude like Morgan who just wants to live on that side of the tracks, and that's fine. Listen, fan bases, you go wherever you want. I'm not telling you how to fan. I get it. They're burnt. They're burnt out.
Mm-hmm.
They're spurned by what the program hasn't done. And in that regard, hate that it's somebody who wasn't an insider. If Jim Leonhard has the same set of results, nobody's looking back at it because he's the guy.
Yeah.
He came from here, and who Jim Leonhard is. I love Jimmy Leonhard. I thought he should have gotten the job. But I don't blame. Two things can be true. I thought he should have gotten the job, and then I could look at it when they hired Luke Fickell and said, I understand it.
Yeah.
You could either one, but I understood.
Yeah.
I had a personal preference that Jim Leonhard get the job. I watched what he did on the interim side, and I thought he was very good at it. The issues were not with the coach.
No.
The issues were with the way the program was run.
Yeah.
I'm not smart enough to know why. Yes, McIntosh. Yes, Barry. Some people think it's sacrilegious to put some of this on Barry. Some of it's on Barry. They let facilities antiquate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That they're doing the practice facility now is a little silly. I knew a guy that was very involved in recruiting and had a kid that played at UW, and he said, and another kid that went to Michigan, he said, the other schools just kind of laugh at recruits that have been to UW at the time saying, how about that 60-yard practice field that you're on?
Mm-hmm.
How about not being able to punt in there?
Mm-hmm.
How about not being able to kick field goals that don't hit in the rafters in there? How about your weight room? How about this? How about that? And I didn't see it because I'm really only on the other campuses on a game day.
Yeah.
So I don't see everything else that goes on. He did. He goes, Mike, where Wisconsin is 6 years ago, he goes, it's among the worst in the Big Ten. Some of that does belong at the desk of Barry Alvarez.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He allowed things to get outdated. You have to be proactive.
Mm-hmm.
So I look at all this shit as it relates to Wisconsin football. I'm optimistic for a couple of reasons. One, it appears obviously that they've spent money.
Yeah.
They retained two players in Cooper Catalano and Mason Posa who would have made a lot of money leaving. A lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And they retained him. They didn't retain him out of loyalty, part of it, but they retained him out of money. Colton Joseph was a highly touted quarterback. They did well in the transfer portal. We'll see when the games are played.
Yeah.
But the other thing, I love Jeff Grimes in the position. I like Mateos, their offensive line coach. I like what they did. Tuff Borland, I think, a bunch of those reasons. But the other one is the 2027 in-state class, of which 8 of the top, 8 of their signed players, verbally agreed to players, are in the state of Wisconsin. And 8 of those are 8 of the top 10 in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Hadn't happened since Barry was the coach.
Yeah.
Honestly. I mean, Paul probably had some of those too, but
a lot of talk about related to that, which I'm excited about. We've seen good recruiting classes out of this staff. Each of the years. We've seen a high percentage, in some cases, a devastatingly high percentage of those good recruits leave the program after 1 to 2 years. So the fan base is right in wanting to see how this plays out, right?
Yep.
I mean, we've been here for now. Those highly ranked recruiting classes weren't dominated by in-state kids the way this class is. And in my couple of my college buddies and I talk about this all the time. You want to close the borders, but within those borders, there needs to be talent that's worthy of playing in Madison.
Yes.
So what I really like to see is we objectively have a really strong 2027 class statewide, and we went out and locked 8 of them up. And potentially counting, that is fantastic. And a good part of me really, really wants this program for all the reasons all of us want it to win. I really want this program to get 8 to 9 wins next year. I think 7 to 8, depending on the trajectory at the end of the season, might be enough. Because I want to see how that 27 class plays out at this point, where we're all, personally invested in them because they're from here and they're good at their jobs, at least at the high school level. So, man, I hope that works. Does Marcus go for the full time? I've got. I had a chance to talk to him in Platteville 2 springs ago. I got invited to a practice, and he made it his job to talk to each of us that were on the sidelines.
Sure. Yeah.
And you would expect someone with
talking about Marcus Sedberry. He's the interim athletic director right now. He's also the general manager of the football program and has taken a very active role from the end of last season in player retainment, procurement, all of it. Like he is truly serving as the GM, and I think a year ago, maybe to a lesser extent. Yeah.
Impressive guy, but he better be impressive to someone that didn't spend their life in college athletics.
I don't know. Obviously I would think he is a candidate.
Yeah.
I would think that the direction they go. Here's what I would do on the front end. I would dismiss some of the names that have been brought out. I don't think Troy Vincent is coming to Wisconsin to be the athletic director. It would be a great hire. Yep. You can dismiss it because I don't think the money is here for what he currently does to what he would do here. And I don't think this is what he wants. Yeah. I think he's in a good spot. So Troy Vincent, I dismiss because I don't think ultimately that's a job move he will make. Mark Murphy, I would dismiss. You've seen it, right? People are bringing up Mark Murphy all the time. Mark Murphy's not a candidate for this job. I think he should be consulted.
Yeah.
I think you should lean into Mark Murphy and say, what do you think?
Yeah.
But I don't think Mark Murphy's a candidate.
I hope they're reaching out to get his opinion. I agree with you.
Barry's opinion should matter here. Not to the extent that it mattered when he essentially appointed McIntosh.
Yeah.
But Barry should be consulted. I don't know who the guy is or the woman is. I don't know who the candidate is that's at the top of the heap right now. If they're doing it the right way, they have a full search firm and they do it. And that person also has to be enticed to come to a program that has not a lame duck, but a potential lame duck as a head football coach.
Yeah.
Because if they don't win this fall, then the first decision the new athletic director makes is to cut bait.
Yeah.
If they're a 6-6 team, I said off the top that it was a gray area. If they're a 6-6 team, or heaven forbid that they miss a bowl game again, then it's over. And you're starting from scratch. If it doesn't, then if they do win, if they go 7-5, 8, and if they go 8-4, 9-3, and I think the 8 and 9 wins are doable. Morgan won't think so, but that's okay. I think that's doable, but then the AD is coming into an inherited head coach, one that he or she doesn't have a relationship with, and will have to establish one.
Yeah.
So it's
that's
a
tricky,
unique,
by the way,
unique deal in that way. Mark says lean into Pat Richter too. Yes, I don't think Pat's health is great right now. Yep. So I would lean into Pat, but I don't think Pat's in a position to do a lot where this is concerned.
And I love The Godfather, but I think both what Pat and Barry share in common is, and it's not to say that Barry's not involved day in and day out in this program, that times they've changed.
Yes, 100%.
So then, and that's not their fault. It's not just that we've gone through this and we're going through this massive transition in terms of NIL and otherwise. There also are people that have 10 to 15 years experience that those two have never, maybe even 20 years experience, but they've been out of it so long they don't even know their names.
Yeah.
But and if you have too many cooks in the kitchen, the decision process probably gets muddled. We are going to do it the right way. We're mandated to. It will be an open search. Everything. I don't care if you're take a janitorial job at the UW. It's going to be a proper open search. There are those that think it needs to be filled sooner rather than later. There's a penalty for not getting this done soon
Yep.
in terms of the perceived instability. But fuck, we got to get this right. Like, we need to be measuring twice and cutting once.
Yeah, without question. And let me add this to the entire UW equation. Basketball's in a good spot. Hockey just played for a national championship. Women's hockey just won a national championship.
Another.
Non-revenue sports can be an issue right now because track and field isn't happy. They don't have a practice. I mean, they don't have a track.
Ridiculous.
So there are some other elements, but when we're talking about the engine, football needs a resolution.
Yeah.
Maybe they're already on that path. We're going to find out over 12 weeks in a 13-week span beginning on September the 6th.
Yeah.
Nothing replaces that. Not me being optimistic, not, Morgan being pessimistic. Nothing does anything about that until you look at the scoreboard on 12 of 13 Saturdays, beginning September 6th, Sunday in Lambeau.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the drivers. They're undeniable, irrefutable. The scoreboard talks.
Mm-hmm.
If they're good, if they do win 8 games, season ticket holders start to come back in 2027.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you need that marquee win. And I know you stormed the field twice last year. Neither one was, I get it. Washington.
Cut the kids some
I get
slack.
it. And that's not me being the field storming police. Go
Yeah,
ahead and do
know.
it. But those aren't the wins that put you over the top.
No.
You need to beat Iowa. USC, you need a USC win, a Notre Dame win, or a Penn State win.
Yep.
And you certainly need an Iowa win. Those 4 games are the most difficult games on the schedule.
You got to beat Minnesota too, because you have
100%.
And that's fuck that being a marquee win. It's Minnesota. Right. But no, I would argue you don't beat Minnesota even after 7-8 wins. The fan base is, I'm going to be pissed.
If you're 8-3 and get beat by Minnesota,
I'm going to be pissed off.
You'll be pissed off, but you'll also see, hey, we won't. I mean, if you're 8-3, then that means that you've either beaten Notre Dame, USC, Iowa, or Penn State, because those are 4 games that people have circled as probable losses. I'm not in that camp. The whole thing is driven there. The rest of it's pretty damn good. I mean, I'm not worried about men's basketball. They need to keep getting more money.
They need money.
But it is in the people that say that they're not in a good spot. Bullshit. They need more money. They need to be able to compete financially. Mm-hmm. But it's a well-run, well-coached
100%.
program.
Yep.
Somebody was asking on one of the other statewide shows yesterday, which team is the most misguided right now? They said Wisconsin athletics, which I just explained why it's not.
Yeah.
However, football has missed a bowl game 2 straight years, so it is.
Yeah.
Or the Bucks. Which one is in more dire straits? Which one is more dysfunctional?
That's not even close. It's the Bucks by a mile.
And one dude was screaming into the microphone that he couldn't understand that at all. And I get the Bucks won a title.
Yeah, you know this. You talked about this, I think, a couple of weeks ago. You can turn around a college football team. Yeah. It's been proven. Last year, Indiana, in a season, you can turn around. Now that's an outlier.
Yeah.
So let's say it's 2 seasons. I mean, that's what we're trying to do right now. When that battleship takes a wrong turn in the NBA, you are not permanently impaired, but you are fucked. Sometimes it's measured in decades.
Yeah.
It is so difficult to catch lightning in a bottle in that league. Not only does it take all the money, a couple of perfect draft picks, which we don't have in Milwaukee in terms of, lottery picks, and you need 3 to 4 legs to the stool. No,
Jeff, here's my question that I would put out there to the naysayers, the doubters.
Yeah.
Who's the head football coach when Wisconsin opens the season in Dublin, Ireland in 2027? Because I think I know the answer,
Yeah.
But again, this goes back to 12 scoreboards and 13 Saturdays.
Yeah.
None of us knows. I think the turn has already happened.
Mm-hmm.
And if it doesn't, then you have to, then you got to sink the boat and start all over.
Don't ever say sink the boat on this podcast again. There's only one boat to sink, and that's 270 miles northwest of here.
Yeah.
That asshole's boat.
You gotta blow up the
you could. Yeah.
Whatever it is, whatever analogy you want to apply to it.
Yes.
If this team fails this fall, September through the end of October,
yeah.
If they fail this fall, the fallout to it is so freaking significant.
Yep.
Because the signing date is December.
Mm-hmm.
So those 8 in-state verbals are verbals.
Yeah.
And you got a coaching change, they all open their recruitment.
Mm-hmm.
The best, only thing that can happen right now is for this team to go 8-4.
Yeah. Yep.
They go 8-4. Most of those kids are going to honor their verbals and they're going to be here. And I think the turn has happened.
Yep.
If they fail and there's going to be a coaching change, you want to talk about what the bottom was? I don't know what the bottom is going to be because then I don't think they will have reached it. It would be this fall and beyond because then you're not going to get those recruits. I have no idea who the guy is going to be.
Yep.
I am a believer that they've done the right things and that this will be an 8-win type season.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a 6-win season, look out because somebody's got to make a significant decision.
Mm-hmm.
And the impact is going to be far-reaching.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not winning this year is not a necessity just because the fan base is losing conviction. It's a necessity. And I had a former work colleague who's an Iowa grad and just not a great human. And he used, not just because he was an Iowa grad, but he used to say Wisconsin, this was before NIL, which is changing. He used to say Wisconsin is only one bad coach away from returning to the massive mediocrity that was. And I want to prove that prick wrong so bad. I don't want to prove him wrong in this instance because I don't want, and by the way, we survived Gary Anderson, so he was wrong right there. You talked about Ron Wolf making quick decisions. We made a really, really, maybe 1 year too long, but 2 years is still a short tenure. I don't want this to be the next test in terms of your one bad coach away, because I do believe Fickell's forgotten more about coaching football than anybody on this podcast or listening has ever learned or would learn in 10 lifetimes. But it is a must-win year, not only for what we just talked about, but because it's going to impact the next 3 to 5 years.
And I'm not going to call up numbers, but the Gary Anderson experience wasn't bad. From a win-loss standpoint, he was...
It got us Dave Aranda is on top of it, which that Dave's not here without in what Dave did and Jimmy did and Cosgrove. No, never Cosgrove. But that was continuing. Who was it? Wilcots that had a cup of coffee with us.
Yeah,
came from Tennessee and went to Cal. Like that built, and we started it back up last year. That built this legacy of top 10 total defenses, which without a bunch of 4- and 5-star guys suiting up every Saturday for us. So Aranda was a huge piece of that. By the way, where did Marcus where did he come from before here? Do you know?
Sedberry, Baylor.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. A couple other quick notes. Let me jump around the map. The hour goes by fast. Brewers have lost 5 in a row. Did not play last night. I went to make sure that they weren't going to play.
That story. I was laughing off camera.
Yeah.
What a bozo you are.
Yes, I am.
Maybe Morgan's right about you.
Maybe. But, Morgan's little brother came in to protect him after I blocked him. Anyway, so Brewers have lost 5 in a row. The Yankees won last night. They had lost 5 in a row. Mm-hmm. You want to talk about symmetry, but not symmetry? Yankees were 8-2. Brewers were 8-2. Both lost 5 in a row. Yankees won last night. All is fine. The Yankees are going to be fine. There are a lot of non-believers about the Brewers. I think we'll get news today on Yelich. My guess is we're going to lose him for a month
with the tight hamstring.
Yeah, that's my guess, because I don't think it's a tight hamstring. I think it's a hamstring, but I don't think it's
hamstrings
tight
usually are lower back, and with him it would be lower back.
Yeah, I said to Rosiak when he tweeted out, I didn't go to the game on Sunday, but on Sunday when Yelich they had to go to a video review that he beat out a 4.63 double play ball.
Yeah.
Yelich is 2 steps beyond the bag if he's healthy. And I said to Rosiak, I said, the way he didn't beat that out did on replay.
Yeah.
To me, says something was wrong from the beginning.
Yeah.
Not after he was pulled, I think after his second at bat.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think they're going to lose Yelich for a while.
Yep.
And they're not getting Chourio back until May, I think. Last week of April, maybe.
Still has a brace on, yeah.
I mean, I think we're talking about the first week of May.
That's got to be 100% healthy before.
And Vaughn is in the same boat.
Vaughn is later.
I'm sorry,
Chourio.
did I say boat again?
Yeah.
Knock it off. Stop the boat.
Sink the boat. Yeah.
So that's 3 guys. And by the way,
it's a lot of production.
That's your number 2 hitter, your number 3 hitter, and your number 4 hitter.
Yeah.
In your basic everyday lineup, that's 2, 3, 4 in your lineup. And they're going to have to survive this. And there is no answer. Yep. Joey Ortiz isn't going to hit, but he's going to play great shortstop.
Yep.
There's no answer for him either. David Hamilton playing a little bit there, but Hamilton, you give up. He's a fine defensive player, but he's not Joey Ortiz. Bryce Terang is really good. Jake Bowers is being really good. Contreras is being really good.
Sanchez is doing
Garrett
his job.
Mitchell has done very good.
Mitchell's done well.
El Gary is doing, but 2, 3, 4 in your lineup, and no Quinn Priester. You have to survive this. Baseball's a long effing season.
Yeah,
you got to survive this. It's a 5-game losing streak. They haven't had one since 2023, so we're unaccustomed. However, they're 8-7. They're not 5-10. Now that would be an issue. They're 8-7. Let's just see what they do. Baseball is take your time concept. Don't judge on 3 games or 5 games. Don't judge on 10 games. Any 10-game stretch, everybody in the league is going to have a 10-game stretch that they're 2-8.
Yep.
Okay, so they're in an 0 for their last 5. I'm in the relax mode.
Yeah.
However, I'm nervous about their overall health in that scenario.
Yeah, I don't. And if we just take the most recent series with the Nats, it wasn't pitching had its opportunity to save games, win games.
And
I mean, it wasn't even with the bats going cold, and they certainly have relative to the first 10 games of the season. Pitching let them down. I mean, I'm not worried about Trevor McGill. That's ridiculous. We're 15 games in, but I expect Murph is probably going to flip Uribe for him at some point if this continues.
Well, McGill is down 2 clicks. All right, so now he's topping out 98, touched 99.
Yeah.
Last year when he's at his best, he's touching 101.
Yeah.
So down 2 clicks is a big deal.
Yeah.
So let's see how it plays, especially as you get to warmer weather. He's a hot weather dude.
Yeah.
People panic and go, here's the correction. This is the year that they suck. Well, they're 8-7. Have they sucked so far?
No, and it's the same team largely. I'm not discounting the loss of Freddie Peralta. I'm not discounting Durbin being gone. But it's largely the same team with the Garrett, stay healthy Garrett, and one, and a couple other guys that are actually playing. Yeah, let's get the production back that you just walked through. That matters deeply. This isn't next guy up when you're talking about a guy like Chourio or frankly the way Vaughn played the last third of the season. Yeah. Let's get Priester back. There is a lot to be excited about in Milwaukee.
Let me do this because I'm remiss in taking care of our sponsors so far today. We're presented by One Community Bank. Stop by any one of our locations. Visit us at onecommunity.bank to upgrade to feel good banking. One Community Bank, proud to serve clients, support colleagues, and invest in our communities. if you're making or thinking about banking, give One Community Bank an opportunity. They are our business bank, and fantastic what they do with all of the folks, and we're closely aligned with them on many fronts. So onecommunity.bank is where you go. Also presented by M3 Insurance, helping businesses and individuals manage risk, purchase insurance, and provide the right benefits to their employees. Go to m3ins.com. Also presented by Neuroscience Group. In sports, you trust the right team. For your health, it's no different. Neuroscience Group brings together specialists in neurology, spine, and pain management, working together to get you back at full strength. And also brought to you by our partners at Potawatomi Sportsbook and Casino, Bet Above the Rest, and by Habish, and Rotier. 13 locations to ensure you get a hometown attorney who understands your life and the impacts of your injury and is personally committed to your recovery. Couple of notes on tomorrow's show. Tomorrow, Dennis Krause will join us on OG Wednesday. We'll get his reaction to what's going on with the Milwaukee Bucks, inching closer to the NFL draft and what the Packers might do. His reaction on the Dontavian Wicks trade, what's going on here at Wisconsin. And I will lead the show early on tomorrow with Gary Damato. I think he just covered, I'll have to ask him again specifically what Masters it was for him on site, on the grounds. But this last weekend was his final, covering on the grounds officially at the Masters. Gary Damato, just one of the greats when it comes to writing about golf in the state and beyond. He'll join me out of the gate tomorrow. Vinny Rizzino in on Thursday. So we got a full week out in front of us. That'll take care of us for now. He knows it, but next week after Monday's show, I'm going to be gone. I've never gone to Europe, and I'm going to Europe next week with a group on a river cruise from Luxembourg through Germany, France, and Switzerland. So Treadmill and a little bit of our Superfan Tuesday ensemble, Courtney, are going to take over for, I'm going to do a couple of Badger Connect podcasts that will air on this front, both of the Fridays. But you're going to take care of the rest of it.
I'm excited.
You up for this?
Completely. I mean, it shouldn't take me 6 days to run this whole project totally right into the ground.
Yeah.
I think I could do it 3.
Yeah.
Hey, quick shout out to men's hockey.
Yeah.
That was...
What a shout out to Sweet Bitch.
Sweet Bitch. Is that Sean? No, it's a Portuguese brand. Because I've been to Europe, and I'm excited for you to get there. The wine and beer tastes better. Yeah,
I'm very much looking forward to it. Never been. I'm 62 years old. Never been to Europe.
That's awesome.
Kari's never been to Europe. So we're going to get to do that together with a group of about 22 folks, all coming from Red and White Wine and Bourbon Bar. It's a group travel trip that we've done out of there. By the way, our bourbon trip, well, July 8th through the 12th.
And you've got slots available?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be a moron not to jump on that.
Yeah, there's 6 spots left.
6 spots. That means I can take 4 girlfriends and Sweet Bitch. That sounds
wow.
Good. Lynn, fake news. Fake news.
Whole thing is scary. Yeah, fake news, 100%. That's July 8th through the 12th. You can always email the show hellerpods2, the number, hellerpods2@gmail.com. hellerpods2@gmail.com. We're done. We're out. That's the wrap for today's show. I appreciate y'all being here. We'll do it again tomorrow. Again, Gary Damato and Dennis Krause, the guests on tomorrow's show. Thanks again for the day. We'll do it again.
I love Mondays with Mike Heller.